Let's emancipate his soul.
Galerius, you saw in Fevris innocent people, mere vessels to house your own fallen empire. But as long as I live and breathe, you'll never inflict such callous devastation on our world.
How do you know of that?
Piteous ghost of an age long past. I shall grant your soul the freedom it desires.
You will not!
From where does he draw such limitless power?
My brethren were robbed of their corporeal flesh, left to wander in the void of nothingness for 800 years. Their pain is my strength, and my body, their fury given form. While the souls of Zenoira remain trapped in the beyond, their emperor shall never know defeat!
Your Majesty.
Baltro!
How goes the rite?
Flawlessly. We lack but a single soul to complete the spell.
Then these insects shall be more than enough. Grant me your strength, and we'll stamp them out together.
Have you not learned by now? You shall never defeat us, wretched tyrant.
What do you think you're doing?
Apologies if I wasn't clear, Your Majesty. The last soul the sigil seeks is none other than yours.
Traitorous fool. Finally gone senile.
Is that you, Mother?
Your Majesty. But how?
Mother!
What fortune! She appears unharmed.
Speak to me, please.
You fought valiantly, Elenia. But this battle has reached its conclusion.
You're wrong. And I shall have your head for thinking otherwise. Your hubris was the end of you, Valmor. What sorcery is this?
Do you see now the futility of your struggle? By cutting me down, you have doomed yourself to a life reborn as my new vessel.
Madness. How does Valmor yet live?
He doesn't. The man was a simple human, undeserving of the glorious soul of an emperor.
Name yourself at once!
I am Baltro, sorcerer of the great and storied Zenoiran Empire. The very empire whose armor was passed through Valmor's family for generations on end. And it was I who bound our emperor's soul to that armor.
I can't move.
So it's true. The Cornian royal family bears the blood of the maiden. No matter. Your feeble flesh shall now play host to Galerius, ruler of all creation.
I never imagined he possessed such frightful mastery over the bodies of others.
Elaine, I can't say how much time has passed since that day. But you've grown so much. If only I could have been there to witness it. It seems I owe Joseph a great deal for raising you in my absence.
The decision is complete, and the gate to the beyond stands open and true! Rise, prisoners of the Unicorn's curse, spectral phantoms from an ancient time! You shall be the first to perish by my newfound strength!
Joseph, see my mother somewhere safe.
And you, Your Highness?
We end this long-drawn war, here and now.
Let us teach the pain of ruin to sorcerer and sigil alike.
Come home, both of you.
Don't you understand, boy? Your end has already been written. I don't think so. I'll not hear another word of Baltro's madness. Come, the final battle is upon us. Get a save here. Okay. Swap Nina back in. If I can find her. Oh, you can actually use Nigel here. Nice. There she is. I don't know if I've got an axe though, or an item. I'm not gonna bother. I don't have any status immunity for her, but I think I'll be alright without it.
The day will
And
be
if not,
ours. We march.
oh well.
Stronger, the time is at hand. Onward.
Oh, because I can't just leave the
Order must be
command
preserved.
post completely deserted. Well,
Your villainy ends here.
probably could have just garrisoned
Victory grows ever closer.
Lane and let him handle everything. Oh, I'm gonna crush this guy.
The path is set.
Let's do it.
Come then. Well fought.
Oh wow, he's got a lot of health. Alright, let's see how this goes.
The futile struggle of a rebellion town. Your end draws near, Cornian whelp. Cease these fatuous endeavors and return to nothingness unending.
Many times you've tried, Baltro, but you shall never break our spirit. I promise you that. Now prepare to be vanquished by the might of Fevrit. Is that all?
Oh, so hopefully I've got, and I believe I've got the rings equipped. Oh, he's not using it though. Okay. Well, let's see how this goes. You want to have both of the rings equipped. The ring of the unicorn on Elaine, and then you want the ring of the maiden on whoever you've made as the maiden. Which actually is I'm now really glad that I switched up who I made the maiden. Initially I was going to use Scarlet, but I never really used Scarlet in my, you know, kind of kill group, so kind of glad I swapped over to Miriam instead. Ooh, death spin.
I'll slay you all.
Pretty weak.
You shall pay!
My end has come.
Be restored! I shall heal you.
Ha! Not enough AP for Fallen 1.
Good. Never doubt a desert kid.
Never doubt a desert
Grow
kid.
heavy.
Alright, so he only restores 23 health, which is obviously quite a bit different from the Galerius fight.
We march.
Yeah, we're gonna crush him.
Come then.
Shrouded in darkness. Do not resist.
Huh?
Decay. Despair approaches.
There's Fallen 1 again.
Be restored!
Okay. Alright, well I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on here with Baltro not dying. It's probably, I don't know, it's gotta be something with the ring, because Elaine's not actually using it.
Huh? Be restored!
Yeah, something's going on there. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Okay, well for one thing, this tactic is not on. Yeah, that's so cheesy. I know I had these tactics set up before. Oh, that one is set up. Alright. Where's our Goofy though? Like, why do I have 2 roll heals there? That doesn't make sense. Alright, anyways, let's try this again. Let's see how this
You face me.
plays out. There's Astral Void.
Grant me strength.
Oh, just lightsaber. Yeah, that's what did it. All right.
We march on.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there with the tactics. It's like they got pulled off for some reason.
I've grown stronger. A little closer to my former strength.
Need of a rest.
Oh, we got a Carnelian pendant. Oh, wow, what a reward for the final battle of the game. Jeez.
Whilst I still feast on the souls of Zenoira, my might is eternal.
Do you not seek their resurrection?
A witless idea, born of the fool Galerius. He served his purpose well enough in prizing open the gate to the beyond. And now, he shall be consumed like all the rest. What's more, there would be little benefit in reviving mere humans.
Do the souls of your brethren mean nothing to you?
As fuel for my magic. Most certainly. What primitive evil should I reanimate next, I wonder? A monster capable of crushing Fevris beneath its heel, perhaps?
They are not your pawns to gambit as you wish!
Spirits of Zenoira, hear my call. Your Emperor is no more, and in his place, a tyrannical fiend who craves nothing but absolute control. Tell me, is this what you truly desire? To sacrifice your very essence in service of this demon?
Pathetic child.
Souls of the departed, if you've any humanity left within you, lend me your aid!
Oh! Their strength is leaving me! You've ruined everything! Accursed fool!
These souls are not a power one can wield, Baltro. They are human lives. Human will in its purest form.
Impossible! The city's very nature has been recast! How is this happening?
It appears we arrived just in time.
This isn't how my tale concludes. I won't allow it!
The only escape awaiting you, Ultron, is death's cold embrace.
Wretched disciples! You dare turn on your master!
The time has come, Alain.
Let us lift the curse of the unicorn, and bring the salvation of heaven to these lost souls!
The end is finally upon us! Ah!
Naivety beckons. All of my knowledge, all of my research, lost to the endless emptiness of time.
Noble warriors of Ferrith, you have our eternal gratitude on behalf of every Zenoiran soul to have ever lived. Thank you, Elaine, and farewell.
Ah, there you are. Your coronation is set to commence at any moment.
A word first, if I may. With the much-awaited fall of Zenoiran rule, we finally attained our most coveted dream. 'Twas a vow I made to the ring itself. A promise fashioned out of steel and blood. Yet, can a champion tempered in the flames of war truly lead in times of peace?
From the day of its very inception, Your Highness, the Liberation Army has boasted a singular gift. Its ranks born nobles, sellswords and civilians alike, disparate nations united as one under a common banner. Your banner. None could ever question the strength of such a leader.
He speaks the truth, you know.
Should you not be sound in bed right now?
And miss the day my son is crowned king? I wouldn't so much as dream of it. Elaine, you stand before me a man full grown. One who will rule these lands with compassion and love. Just as you've done for all those who fought beside you. Be proud, my son. Not only of what you accomplished, but how you've made it so.
I will, Mother. Thank you both, from the depths of my heart. Now then, a radiant future for Cornea awaits.
Year 906 of the Hallowed Chronicle. Thus, with all of Fevrith as his witness, a bold young king ascended the throne. Ere long, the scourge of Galerius and ancient Zenoira would be little more than footnotes on the pages of history. And though scars of war yet blighted the land, its people, awed and inspired by Cornea's noble ruler, began their arduous trek down the path to recovery. Forevermore would the Chronicles of Fevrith extol the Savior Elaine's sacred journey, a legend only embellished in the generations to come. That of a divine beast and a liberator king that bore its name, the unicorn Overlord.
Okay, so pretty much done here. I think there's a bit more to do post credits. If I remember right, reading something about yeah, kind of like some post story content. Not sure what that is. I guess we'll find out, but I just wanted to kind of go over some of my thoughts on the game. I generally kind of like it. I really like the art style. I think that's the one thing that really pulled me in. But as far as the actual game goes, I didn't think it was that good. I think maybe having more actual choice in in terms of what happens in battles would have been good, but you know, like 99% of the battles, I'm just hitting start, you know, and continuing on. So, again, I think that, you know, maybe actually, you know, having a little bit of a different battle system in that, like maybe actually having control over the characters would have been more fun. But you know, just kind of letting things play out and setting things up, you know, because that's really the battle system, right? It's more just setting things up. After the war, Lex left rule of Cornea to Elaine and set forth to hone his mastery of the blade. Whenever he encountered former allies on his travels, he and they would spar just as they did during the prior days with the Liberation Army. Though there was great distance between him and Elaine, their bond of friendship remained as strong as ever, and Lex swore to brandish his sword for his king should the need arise. The war concluded. Chloe chose to serve Elaine as his chief lady-in-waiting rather than return home to her family in Cornea. In this role, she oversaw the domestic needs of the kingdom, though she never kept her spear far from hand in case of crisis. At times, she could be seen reminiscing with her old friends at the Knights' Barracks, a practice which Elaine himself would join when the ideal moment presented itself. Okay, so am I gonna have to read through all the characters' endings? That's gonna be a little annoying. But yeah, I just think that like maybe if combat had more choice, that would have been more fun. But as it was, again, most of the battles, I'm just like hitting start, you know, to basically to skip it. So that was not. I didn't really love that. After the war, Hodrick was granted the post as captain of the Cornian Royal Guard, a role which saw him dedicate great attention to the growth of his soldiers and to their unshakable unity. At times, he and his mentor Joseph partook in intense sparring bouts, which never failed to draw onlookers to the training hall. Though offered the role of Chancellor due to his immense efforts in protecting the prince and shepherding the liberation to victory, Joseph declined and instead chose to see out his days as the new king's personal blade. Ever a stern leader, he worked tirelessly to train the soldiers that would serve as Cornea's new guardians and ensure the kingdom would remain safe long after his eventual passing. Renaud returned to the land he had once ruled under Zenoira's magic, and though some would never forgive his cruel treatment, others came to see the sincere regret with which he earnestly faced their resentment. His commitment towards starting anew saw him grow into a fine leader with an eye ever focused on the future, unhindered by the tragic failings which plagued his past. Okay. Just once I want to hear, like, one guy that just couldn't do it, right? He just sunk into deep despair and, like, offed himself or something. But, you know, they don't want to write stories like that. Clive. Declining a position within the Royal Guard, Clive returned to the province of the Ashen Blue and begun work on establishing a new form of self-governance with his fellow knights. His bold philosophy, which espoused the virtues of collective rule over a single authority, soon spread throughout the province, from the knights of its order to the farmers in its fields. Adele. After the war, Adele returned to the province of the Ashen Blue, a decorated hero beloved by fellow knights and townsfolk alike. His bright demeanor saw him remain ever popular, playing with local children during the day and partaking in revelry at the province's lively taverns by night. In the end, he chose to live out his days as a beloved knight in the company of his people. When the Liberation disbanded, Bernice set out to travel Cornea and hone her skills, hunting bandits and aiding in their reconstruction all the while. Years later, she was welcomed back to the province of the Ashen Blue, where she chose to settle down and become an instructor in the military arts, thus giving rise to the mightiest army the province had ever known. Rolf. His role with the Liberation concluded. Rolf's reputation as a brave hunter earned him a post as guardian of Cornea's forests. His duty saw him not only defend the land from wild beasts and poachers, but tend to the natural bounty of the region and heal the scars of battle inflicted across the woodlands. Such benevolent deeds brought him nigh endless praise from the people he served. Morden. After the war, Morden abandoned his life as a mercenary and lived on as a humble stonemason. While the reconstruction of Barbatimo was his first priority, he eventually turned his gaze toward the pursuit of aesthetics and the creation of ever more elaborate architectural projects. The stunning facades which lined the main thoroughfare of his home, thus given the name Morden Road upon his eventual passing, were beloved by all for generations to come. Ausch. Upon reading off a list of his accomplishments with the Liberation at his mother's gravesite, Ausch departed on a journey of fervent magical research, never to return to his homeland again. The thesis he enumerated later in life came to be treasured as a comprehensive compendium for hopeful sorcerers who as of yet lacked the requisite background in magical arts. Jeremy. After the war, Jeremy quietly departed from the Liberation and returned to his life as a mercenary, wherein no matter the danger he found himself in, his quick wit and years of experience always saw him to safety. Upon completing a particularly lucrative job with a few old faces from the war, he and his men drank an entire tavern dry and were thus writ in the pages of mercenary legend. Okay, I could see that. That's pretty legendary. I mean, depending on how much alcohol was at the tavern, right? Kitra. After the war, Kitra continued to serve in the Knights of the Rose while also taking up a post guarding the people of Grand Corin. Whenever trouble struck, she and her hammer were always quick to the scene, much to the delight of onlooking citizens. As a skilled craftswoman, she also aided in the rebuilding of the city and enjoyed unique popularity amongst the local children due to her sharp wit and fiery attitude. Fran. Although her efforts in the war saw Fran offered a commanding role in the Knights of the Rose, she politely declined, stating that she preferred to stand as an equal rather than a superior. Retaining this status granted her the latitude to charge into battle to rescue her allies at a moment's notice, a fact which all who knew her agreed was for the best. Oh, and it looks like they skip Miriam, and I'm assuming that's because I made her the maiden. Melisandre. With peace returned to Cornea, Melisandre slipped past Elaine's watchful advisors day after day in order to request his hand in marriage. While her wish never came to pass, the beauty and vigor of her spirited blade were the highlight of many a royal banquet, and thus stole the hearts of countless guests. Calm. After the war, House Millet began to reclaim its former glory, a pursuit that Colm enjoyed even more than his Lady Melisandre herself. Though she had always posed him an array of challenges, the fact that Cornea's new king was the object of her affection presented an endless struggle for her faithful steward. She's boy crazy. Monica. In light of Monica's deeds with the Liberation, the noble house Nordham's name was restored to its rightful place of honor and respect. Her calm demeanor, stately dedication, and moral clarity earned her the fierce support of her people, a groundswell which only grew after her grandfather's passing. While she bore a great commitment toward helping her people, she never forgot to honor her vassals in the annual stargazing festival, which she herself was responsible for creating. Wait, what about Clive? Or did I miss Clive and then or wasn't paying attention? Is my memory that bad? We'll see. Aramis. After the war, Aramis saw to it that Gilbert was crowned king and left Soldraga to support his brother in the restoration of Drakenhold, taking the guise of a mercenary, a stage actor, a sailor, and much more along the way. In the centuries to follow, local legends throughout the nation told of a host of men named Aramis who appeared to help when the land seemed to be at its most vulnerable. Oh, that's cool. Hilda. After the war concluded, Hilda laid down her spear and pursued an expertise in medicine so that she might aid those who still suffered. After years of ardent study, she became an apothecary and joined Prim in caring for the sick and infirm throughout Fevrith. Forevermore would history speak of the countless lives she and her sister saved astride her gallant, loyal wyvern. Similarly, Prim's attention turned after the war toward the ailing people of Fevrith and supporting Hilda's dogged pursuit of medical knowledge however she could. Her work caring for the infirm eventually led the Orthodoxy to bestow upon her the title of Honorary Angel, an accolade which Prim could only humbly decline. Aben. With the war concluded, Aben donated his earnings to the people of Drakenhold's desert and took up the task of rebuilding his home. Soon enough, towns in the region grew prosperous indeed, and the land once known for its crime and banditry began to flourish in true under Aben's benevolent leadership. After years in the desert, he acquired a ship and sailed the oceans in search of new ventures. Magellan set out to reunite his old band who had scattered across Drakenhold, after which he returned to the desert and announced them as a group of reformed chivalrous thieves. Tales of their virtue spread even beyond the desert's borders, attracting a horde of young aspirants looking to join their ranks. As the band's numbers continued to grow, their keep became a vibrant settlement that saw steady progress under Magellan's guidance. Liza. After the Liberation disbanded, Liza joined Magellan on his journey and met an influential trader along the way, whom she impressed with her sharp tongue and keen business acumen. While she had always been skilled in the ways of trade, she was able to build a far more profitable enterprise than she had ever imagined with the funds she earned during the war. She then used her wealth to bolster the desert's economy and improve the lives of all within. Gloucester. With the war concluded, Gilbert appointed Gloucester as ruling lord over the desert. There he worked with Aben to better conditions for the people of the dunes and champion them from a position of authority. His benevolence and unshaking sense of duty earned him the adoration of his citizens, who erected a statue depicting Gloucester atop his loyal steed after his eventual passing. Amalia. After the war, Amalia returned to Baumrat and shattered her undefeated streak atop its rankings. Yet, despite her assured victory, the crowds never failed to cheer her on. Upon her eventual defeat many years later, she rejoiced to have met another warrior as fearless as she, and at Amalia's urging, the two set forth toward new horizons. Berengaria. After the war, Berengaria reformed the Tricorn mercenaries, and the band was offered a new role as a Drakenhold Order of Knights. However, they chose to decline, and the mercenaries traveled the world fighting for the downtrodden and less fortunate. In the years to come, history would speak of their brave endeavors, and all who lived in Fevrith would know the Tricorn name. Bruno. As a central figure in the reformed Tricorn mercenaries, Bruno found himself instrumental to the band's renewed efforts. Ever striving to become Berengaria's equal on the field of battle, he easily gained the trust and respect of his fellow mercenaries, though his immense strength meant skirmishes ended before others could earn even the slightest glory. It's just too good. Travis. After the war, Travis traveled the world with the reformed Tricorn mercenaries, proving both his skill and intellect along the way. As a lover of literature, an uncommon trait among mercenaries, he always brought rare and valuable tomes to add to his expanding library whenever work led him home. Nerd alert is what I'm getting from that. so mean. Gilbert. After the war, Gilbert was coronated as the new king of Drakenhold and immediately made a name for himself as a savvy ruler. Long had he chased his brother's shadow, yet now he stood in a light of his own making, one which filled his people with hope and joy. In years to come, history would sing his praises as a heroic king who single-handedly delivered his land from the all-consuming ashes of war. Virginia. With the war concluded, Virginia received a proposal of marriage from the newly crowned King Gilbert, an offer she gladly accepted. As a representative of Cornea and Drakenhold both, she was beloved by both nations for the strides she made toward goodwill and unity. Over the years, her bold demeanor and skillful blade work earned her the love and adoration of countless fervent admirers. Leah. After the war, the relationship between Cornea and Drakenhold was mended at last, and Leah officially entered Virginia's service. When her lady gave birth to a royal heir some years later, Leah surprised the court by doting on the newborn prince even more than his loving parents. When the prince grew old enough to wield a sword, Leah served as his stern yet kind master. Oh, they don't give a little history on, what was his name, Herman there? Because he didn't play a big enough role in the story to merit a footnote. Sad. Celeste. After the war, Celeste continued her work leading the local Elheim militia, swooping down from the skies to aid a townsperson in danger or provide relief to an injured soldier. One person rescued by Celeste later started a business by which his customers could travel to the sights of Fevrith atop a noble griffin, a venture which he named after his savior. Gamel. Seeking to make amends for the wrongs he committed during his time with the Black Talons, Gamel and his men traveled the land, engaging in philanthropic ventures all the while. Such deeds drew the attention of his fellow thieves and other young rogues, whom he graciously let join the cause. His sister, having at last overcome her cruel illness, was often seen at his side. Mandarin. After the war, Mandarin's friendship with Gamel remained steady as ever, and the two traveled the continent together. Eager to cheer up Gamel's now recovered sister, he invited her along to show her the incredible sights Fevrith has to offer. The three lived almost as a family, though Gamel refused time and again whenever Mandarin asked for his sister's hand in marriage. Sad. So some bro you are. Just let him marry your sister, dude. Excuse me. Oh my god. Alright. Oh! Yana from the top rope. After the war, Yana brought her powerful magic to bear as Cornea's court sorceress. Toward the end of her life, she tearfully retired from the king's service and returned to her swamp to teach the rising generation of witches as their wise village elder. It's said that she maintained her youthful visage until her final days and departed this world surrounded by her steadfast disciples. Selvi. After the war, Selvi continued to travel the lands pursuing a research into ancient Zenoira. With memory of the Empire's modern reign fresh in their minds, the world was eager to learn more of their deeds in days of old, and Selvi's work garnered immense interest. As deeper understanding of Zenoira's history and culture spread through Fevrith, further scholars built upon Selvi's findings, thus memorializing her as a pioneer in the field. Ridiel. As the war concluded, Ridiel's at last realized her dream of becoming a knight of Elheim. Though some still whispered about her half-elf blood, she unflinchingly proved herself through great skill and valor, thus silencing those who discriminated against her. In a few years' time, she came to attain even greater glory than her mother before her, and stood as a proud beacon of hope for half-elves through every corner of Elheim. Rosalinda. Returning to Elheim, Rosalinda traveled the nation to support her brethren as they overcame the atrocities committed by Zenoira. Even amidst her busiest moments, she always made time to visit Eltalinda, and given her role as augur to the Turanos, The two spent countless hours in each other's company. Athelion. After the war, Athelion continued to stand in Rosalind's service, not only acting as her personal guard, but sharing stories of her exploits with awestruck dark elven children. It's said that he and a human woman lived out their days together in loving marriage. Raylanor. Long after the war's end, Raylanor continued to serve Rosalinda as captain of her personal guard. Having been separated from her lady during the invasion of Elheim, Raylanor gained a renewed sense of duty and refused to leave Rosalinda's side, even when the situation didn't call for a guard's protection. However, Rosalinda herself found this dedication to be quite endearing indeed. Eltalinda. The war with Zenoira concluded. Eltalinda returned to Elheim to restore its charred forests and downtrodden settlements to their long-forgotten glory and pride. By the time the nation had recovered in true, elves and humans had formed a deeper bond of unity, and the divine Turanos commanded the respect and love of both races alike. Galadmir. After the war, Galadmir was reinstated as Eltalinda's personal guard and served faithfully beside the divine Turanos. Though the land had entered a time of peace, she trained ever diligently with the bow. One legend speaks of a day she spotted a vile rogue at Elheim's border and fired upon him from miles away through a crenel at Castle Orhall, piercing him with a single arrow. My. Linelagos. After the war, Linelagos first aided in the reconstruction of Elheim before swearing his loyalty to Eltalinda anew, thus serving as her second-in-command for all of Elheim. From that moment forth, he dedicated his life to protecting Ervelda, securing Elheim and ensuring the peace of the Elven land would never be again disturbed by war. Unifi. Word of the courageous human raised by Bestrels spread throughout Fevrith, eventually drawing the gaze of renowned historians who pen tales of her exploits in freeing Bastorius. The magnitude of her story resonated across the lands, and Unifi and her heroic brethren came to be idolized by children everywhere, even those who never once met a Bestrel. Morard. At the behest of the other Bestral bloodlines, Morard ascended the throne as the new king of Bastorius and sole surviving Lion Bestral. Having experienced life as a human and Bestral both, he ruled without discrimination and quickly garnered loyal support from subjects of all races and bloodlines. Ramona. Even after Zenoira's collapse, Ramona continued to lead the Frost Blooms in aiding wounded Bestrals and restoring Bastorius to its former glory with her vast wisdom and keen insight. She also served as counsel to the new king of Bastorius, thus dedicating her life to Bestral prosperity and aiding their relations with the other lands of Fevrith. Just two bros taking a bath. Govel, though offered a role as Knights Captain by the new king of Bastorius, Govel declined, thus handing the post to a trusted subject and returning home to manage his grandfather's tavern. Despite its age, the tavern thrived for years to come as a warm, welcoming establishment and treasured haven for weary Bestrals taking part in the restoration of Bastorius. Bertrand. With the war concluded, Bertrand lent his hammer to the restoration of Bastorius and the construction of monuments to honor those fallen in battle. Every year, the anniversary of the war's end saw Bastorius blanketed in the bittersweet aroma of flowers left as offerings at those memorials. Dina, at the suggestion of a dear friend, Dina and the Snow Petals traveled throughout Vestorius to aid in the ongoing reconstruction efforts. Her fierce loyalty, and firm leadership proved equally as useful in times of peace, and her successes saw countless hopefuls aspiring to join the Snow Petals, human and bestial alike. In time, her distrust of humans thawed like the northern ice in the light of spring. Nina. After the war, Nina returned home much to the joy and relief of Millet and her parents. Having reconciled with her family, she then departed once again to travel the world and to aid in the ongoing reconstruction efforts. In time, tales of her exploits spread through the land, and admirers gathered in every town in hopes of meeting the vivacious knight. Bryce reformed the Rock Rats in True, not as bandits, but as a band of mercenaries seeking to aid in the post-war recovery of Fevrith. His kindness, humility, and eagerness to accept tasks few would dare endure saw him grow into a respected figure among both the townsfolk and his fellow mercenaries. Sharon. With the war concluded, Sharon returned to Ronmort Church to tend to the wounded. Everywhere she and her trusted companion Oclise went, they were met with kind hearts and a restored faith in the church's teachings. In time, their tale came to be immortalized in a massive stained glass window adorning the wall of their beloved Ronmort. Oclise. After the war, Oclise laid down her sword in exchange for a prayer book, and thus took up residence in Ronmort Church to spread the Orthodoxy's teachings. There, her status as an angel saw her inspire fervent faith in those around her, and even without blade in hand, she forever strived to sever the encroaching roots of evil. Rhaenys. After the war, Rhaenys led a quiet life in humble service to her Albion Abbey. Her kind, caring nature saw many of her former allies visit the church to offer their prayers and reminisce over a warm meal. In times of leisure, she would pay visits to Scarlet, and the two quickly rekindled their years-forgotten friendship. Tatiana. After the war, Tatiana traveled the world to broaden her knowledge and advance her medical studies should the plague strike again. Though she believed that faith alone could never heal the sick, she softened her stance upon witnessing the warmth, care, and curative magics the land's churches offered their people. Upon her return to Cornea, her research was greatly funded by King Elaine, and in time it grew to form the central tenets of Fevrith medical practice. Scarlet. After the war, Scarlet ceded the pontificate to Sanatio and returned to Polevia to live out the rest of her days as a humble priestess. There her presence saw a renewed faith in the orthodoxy as believers gathered to hear her sermons and tales of Albion's savior. At times she could be seen in the cathedral's garden, conversing warmly with a young angel and an imposing man clad wholly in black armor. Eumeris. After the war, Eumeris spent her days defending the orthodoxy as a sacred knight, pursuing her study of botany all the while. The verdant flower garden she tended to quickly became one of Albion's most sought-after pilgrimage sites. It's said that at times she could be seen hosting Scarlet in that very garden, where the two reminisced about their distant childhoods. Jerome. After the war, Jerome returned to Largian and began restoring the city and its surrounds with the undying aid of his beloved citizens. Though lacking in mastery of governance, his kindness, loyalty, and the occasional baked good earned him the never-ending trust and affection of his people. Fedokia. His work with the liberation complete, Fedokia returned to Paestum and began to walk the long road towards reconstruction. His unwavering dedication toward the task at hand earned him the renewed trust of his people, and together they ushered in a new age of peace and prosperity. In time, his beloved son's grave came to be forever adorned with flowers and offerings. Senatio. After the war, Senatio traversed Albion to aid in the reconstruction, wherein witnessing the breath of faith in the land thus altered his own beliefs. Despite Scarlet's insistence, he had long declined the pontifical mitre, but in time he relented and chose to honor the trust of those who believed in him. Thereafter, as the new pontifex, he and Nigel worked tirelessly to guide the orthodoxy down the proper path and spread its teachings to any who would listen. Alright, looks like some more credits. I assume we're going to have to wait and see the ending for Elaine and, what was her name? Monica? No, not Monica. I actually forgot the gal's name that I made the maiden. Whoops. So I should say I actually like this, the ending so far. You know, I'm kind of used to now the Suikoden's, right? Because there's so many characters that they don't really, you're not able to do a whole lot of character development. I feel like that's the case with all of these sorts of games where you just recruit an absolute ton of people. But I do so far like this the ending more because it's more than just, you know, the character's portrait flashes up in a tiny little like 1 or 2 sentence blurb about what they did. So, you know, at least some props there to the writers for that. Miriam. There we go. That's her name. Thus Miriam served simultaneously as queen and captain to the Knights of the Rose, and nigh every girl in Cornea aspired to someday join the order, both gallant and glamorous. In their brief respites, she and Elaine could be seen enjoying long rides through their forests. All right. All right, that's the end. Let's see if there's any. Again, I'm pretty sure there's. Okay, you may now commence the quest Unicorn Overlord at the start of the final confrontation against Galerius. Okay. You may now select True Zenoiran difficulty when starting a new game. You may now explore Gran Corinne and the surrounding area after Elaine's coronation. Now visit the altar on Palavia to return to before you performed the rite of covenant. Oh, that's cute. A new quest is now available at the ruins in northwestern Cornea. You'll be prompted to save your clear data. You may then load this data to gain access to various new possibilities. Okay, let's take a look at that. Might as well save over the old save there. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, there's the Holy Unicorn Shield and a Fevrite. Okay, alright, let's take a look. Actually, I think I might... Yeah, I'm going to make this the next video.